Got it. Right, there we go.
Does he want to share his screen?
Yeah, I will when I get everything up.
You're gonna have to make a host in order to share the screen.
Will recording continue?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I have never done that on Zoom, only done on the other end.
Yeah. Maybe we can make it, give me a second.
Yeah.
I started cleaning my glasses.
Share screen is here.
Yeah, you might be able to co-host it, in which case.
Share screen, whiteboard, share screen. Share Hulu. Something like that. Share sound.
Okay, can I sit down? Sure.
And that.
Should have said may I sit down?
The grammar police is on this.
Yeah, well, the answer should have been, I don't know, can you? I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I can make him the host, but I don't know what's gonna happen to the recording. It's still recording.
All right. And then let's see.
Tell me.
Okay, Brandon, I made you the host.
Okay, very good.
So you can share screen now.
All right.
Thank you, God. Makes like, you know.
All right. You want to pray us in real quick while we're on the thank you God theme?
All right, say again.
I was asking if Brenda wants to pray us in.
I already did.
Perfect. I figured. Okay. So let's go for a very quick review of last time. All right. So this is what you had come up with, right? Wanting to change the world by changing yourselves first, bring people to Christ through technology, feed others, so prevent hunger, and food and spiritual nourishment through the micro pantry. Give people a place where they can find peace and safety for LGBTQAI+ youth and for yourselves, and then going out to pray with the homeless in the community. And that turned into, we want to feed ourselves and others with physical and spiritual nourishment by creating a safe space for peace and belonging. So in light of that, let's go back to the cycle or the process. We did this. Okay, we did the definition, and we started into the discovery process, kind of asking about what's already going well, right, and what's right. And so we talked about the micro pantry, and so why don't you bring up some of the other things? What has been going well in the church to bring you towards this?
And you must be on the mic in order for him to hear you.
Okay.
Is it on? This is that.
Hold the phone.
Okay,
There you go.
does anyone have anything to say? I get Larry.
Our summer worship program, we had 6 children on average attend worship every Sunday. And then with the praise songs that were geared for them. And then they did activities, and the whole church was involved in the Flat Jesus program.
Okay.
And it went very well.
I'm gonna bring up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, before summer worship this year, we had very rarely any children in church.
In the summer. Anyone else?
We've got the LGBTQ festival coming up on the 17th. And this year we got several volunteers to help, sit there a couple hours at our booth. So that was very positive compared to last year where we only had a handful of people show up.
Okay.
Our micro pantry is going very well. It almost could be filled every day. Fortunately, some of the community is also putting food in, which is great. I guess our only problem is getting some of our congregation to help tend it during the week, but otherwise it's going very well.
Great. Share this.
One more.
We had a all leadership planning meeting in June, and we actually were able to plan themes and worship through the end of the year. So we hope that that'll be exciting times. And we've had 2 new people join our worship planning. And so that's really been helpful.
Nice.
I don't see any more hands. Oh, one more. Hang on.
It kind of goes along with the micro pantry, but we've identified some other items that our church could provide for the community through the micro pantry. We had some clothing, some socks that were brought in from a church member who we're very grateful for his assistance and possibly helping us expand what we can offer to the community, and also some books that we have upstairs that haven't been used. And so we are redistributing some of the books. And so opening it up so it's not just food, but nourishing other needs.
And the one out front gets opened a lot.
I don't know anything about clear boxes.
Oh, outside, yeah.
Yeah, we have like the real estate information boxes attached to the building in the front and the back. And the one in the front is right near the micro pantry, and that gets investigated and things taken out of it a lot. The one in the back, not so much, but the one in the front, people do look at it and take things out of it.
So real estate info, is this like apartments for rent or what's?
Yeah, it's one of those clear boxes. Like if you go to a house that's for sale, you can take an information sheet out of it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's not actually got real estate info in it. It's the box.
No. What we put, that I took the mic back. We put devotionals in it.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We put worship, extra materials that help with understanding the sermon every Sunday or the theme every Sunday. We put magnets as giveaways that said God's love heals. So we use it for all kinds of things, and those things get taken out in the front box by the people in the pantry, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
Okay. So let's go back to this. So we've defined the topic. It's always worth beating like a dead horse. So we want to feed ourselves and others with physical and spiritual nourishment by creating a safe space for peace and belonging. And discovery, this is where we're saying, okay, where has God already been at work with us? And you have all said the LGBTQ festival, the micro pantry, leadership planning meeting with 2 new people added, nourishing needs through the books, etc., the clear box, and I know I'm missing one. Remind me what the first one was?
The children's program.
Children's program. Okay. Good. Okay, so these are all things that are already going well towards getting you to feeding yourselves and others with physical and spiritual nourishment by creating a safe space for peace and belonging. So what you want to do now is start thinking about how to build on these things as we start to shift into the dream cycle. Okay, so now we want to kind of paint a picture. Here's where we want to be. And we started that with the definition. But now through the discovery of seeing what's already been going well and what you have already been doing and what God has been doing through your narrative throughout your church history, and especially right now, now we start to dream about how we can take those tools and those building blocks and build upon them to get you to that definition, to that appreciative topic that we talked about. So let's start talking about that.
So Brandon, I just want to make clear what you mean by dream. This can be anything. We don't have to evaluate it right now.
Correct.
We're brainstorming.
Yes. Yes.
So any dream can be shared. It can be wildly a wild dream.
Yeah, we'll call it a BHAD, a big, hairy, audacious dream.
Right. Yeah. If we had $1 million, what would we do?
There you go. Exactly. Yep. Because the next session is going to be on designing, right? So here we're pie in the sky, big stuff. And then we really put some skin on it to say, okay, what does this really look like? And how would we put it together? So yeah, here we can be as wide open as we want to be.
So don't filter yourself. Okay.
No,
Dave.
not. So we're going to duplicate this slide. And this is going to be dream.
Get back to a full music program.
Hey. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, right now we have no choir director. We have organist, pianist. So we need help getting, we need to be able to find a choir director and an organist.
Okay. That's helpful.
And a choir. Get the choir director, we'll get the choir. But
right. and the choir. Kind of need one of those for a director to direct, huh?
And not just a singing choir, we need more members for the bell choir.
Ah, there we go.
Ones that can actually play.
Those who know how to mute on the shoulder, how to flick the wrist.
I feel like we're going with like the Field of Dreams theme here, like build it and they will come. So we also need a nursery attendant.
Okay. There you go. So let's talk about that for a second. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will, about the build it and they will come mentality.
Yeah, that's kind of why I mentioned it.
Yep, exactly, right? There's good to it, there's truth to it, especially when you're addressing the needs that you have already, right, within the congregation. And then there's what we talked about before, the more attractional mindset that we can get into that says, well, if we put on this play, everybody from the community is going to come, they're going to love it, they're going to love us, and they're going to become church members. And it's like, nope. So We just want to, right? So for example, if right now you have kids and you need a nursery attendant, yep, let's put it on there. So these, even going to the music program, right? Again, wide open. We just need to put enough skin on it so we can know what we're talking about. And that's why we say the choir director, the organist, the pianist, right? All that stuff. So following that theme, what else? Again, dream big, but then just put just a little bit of skin on it so we know what we're talking about.
I think with the success of the micro food pantry, we have to think about how do we engage some of the folks so we can actually talk to people. One idea I had, one day a week, we could meet of some kind. All we need to have is a large cooler, some dry ice, but also attend. Car doesn't come by and take everything, but we could help people that way and maybe meet people that are actually coming. And once they know through our communications, like say a Saturday or a Wednesday evening that we're doing that, it could be 2 or 3 hours a week. We have to raise the money to be, providing something, like meat to people, simple things, hot dogs, hamburgers, that kind of thing that we can buy in bulk. But that would also add, that's the thing people aren't getting in the other food programs. And we might be able to serve the folks that are already coming outside with that.
Like that.
A state of the art streaming booth in our balcony.
Yeah.
What we have is great, and Lee put it together. But when Lee's not here, people don't know what to do to troubleshoot when it goes bad. So if we had the state of the art that everybody knows how to run, then Lee could go to Iowa more often.
Play with trains,
Not
right?
that we want to get rid of him, but he's put off going to Iowa a lot to help with the streaming. Now Lee's going to defend himself.
No, it just said, yeah, I'm afraid if you had state of the art, it would be even more difficult.
Oh,
First,
right.
it needs to have people volunteer to come and learn.
Oh, I tell you. So first of all, Lee, I think I'm seeing your dog as your screen hold there on Zoom. I'm not seeing the people.
You're not seeing the people?
No, I'm seeing a dog.
You're seeing a dog.
A dog, yep. I'm seeing a dog on a bed or a couch or something there.
See the dog on the bed.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, I wasn't bad mouthing you guys. That was Brenda's dog, I think.
It was.
Yep. No, I like that. Why? I mean, go big or go home, right? Let's make it a state of the art streaming booth. And we have the same headache at our church. We've got a booth. We've got some stuff going on. We've got a digital media coordinator. And then the leadership asked me to attend this 4-day conference on learning how to stream and engage better with those in Facebook land or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not the digital media coordinator. So yes, there are a lot of headaches that go with that. So, and to your point, if it's state of the art, it could be more difficult or it could not be, right? It could be easier, more integrative with other systems and platforms, and it could be just a lot easier to engage folks. So definitely something to explore. What else have we got?
So to piggyback on the micro pantry, it would be nice if we could do maybe start out at once a month, having like a hot meal where people could drive through, maybe have a sandwich and soup or something like that, or have it down in the basement.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be nice if we could have like down in the basement. And I was even thinking of like putting up that if any of them would like to volunteer to help serve or do anything, so that it would be a way that I'm sure that some of these people would like to somehow or other be kind of giving back. And if they can give back with their time and would like to help serve, or maybe even, hey, come down to the kitchen and cook with us. I think that would be, to me, that would be a dream.
Yeah. And it's practical and simple, right? I mean, it's not rocket science to put a meal together, to have people volunteer. It's another thing to get people to do it, understandably, but right, you're not talking about building this structure or something that's going to take years or a lot of technical know-how.
I'd like to see us partner with more organizations or agencies in the community and use our building more. We have rooms upstairs that are great for kids and teenagers. We've got these funky chairs up there and just, we've got all this space. And we only have a few outside groups that utilize it. So if there was other agencies we could partner with and have meetings or just whatever, but use our space. We've got this big building.
Yeah. So I'll give you a couple examples of how we've used our church space and things that I've encountered. One is we've had what is the name of the group? The PFLAG. We've had PFLAG at the church, right, which is the parents of LGBTQ AI plus youth. We've had a group that uses our space, or did pre-pandemic. Now we're just getting back into that. That is called I2I, which is Invisible to Invincible, which is mostly Asian Pacific Islander LGBTQ folk who have been ostracized and oppressed and have a support group there. The Iraqi Mutual Aid Society was using our space, as was Heartland Alliance for refugee youth to help them with homework and life skills and things like that. And then recently I was approached on the business side. There's an LGBTQ theater company in Chicago that is looking to rent commercial space, but they also said they're open to sharing space with the church. So sky's the limit, right? There are a lot of organizations out there that are looking to either rent space from churches or to just share space once a month or whatnot. So I love that idea. Our churches are not used enough. And then we get into the conversation of, well, why do we need a building if we're using it once a month for 2 hours or once a week for 2 hours, you know? So.
I would like to have a circle center. This is my personal dream, where we have circles for people in church, but we also have circles that are open to the community. So peace circles. And to that end, I need some more co-keepers of circles. So I need people that are trained to help do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to say anything about that, because I have another dream. I actually have 2 more.
I'm going to shut up and keep listening.
Okay. I have another dream to help people who are caregiving for dementia patients, where we have a weekly time or even maybe a monthly time, depending on the interest of the caregivers having a support group in one part of the church, while the people who suffer from dementia are having a worship service designed for them in another part of the church. And that's a dream for me because I've done it before. I've done the worship service for dementia patients as a hospice chaplain. So that's a dream for me. And we have somebody in the congregation who's also led support groups for the caregivers of dementia patients. So I'd really like to see something like that. And what was my third thing?
Jenny has something.
I can't remember, so I'll turn it over to somebody else.
It'll come back to you.
I'm coming to Jenny. Yes.
Gail's getting her steps in today. I wanted to go back to the one I said about partnering with other agencies in the community. We do have an Alcoholics Anonymous group that meets here. So we do have and an Al-Anon. So we do have limited. I would like to see more because they're not here every day. So, but I did want to add that there. And then a wish or a dream would be to have the elevator go upstairs, because talking about using our building, we have an elevator, but it only comes down to the basement. And so you can't get up to our second floor. And we have 1, 2, 3, we have 5 rooms up there. We have 5 rooms upstairs and we have a bathroom up there, but we're limited because many adults might not be able to walk up there. A kid with a handicap, a pregnant woman, somebody that has, I remember trying to drag 2 toddlers and a baby up there. It's a nightmare. So an elevator to get upstairs. Barb, did you have something you wanted to add? Did you guys have something you wanted to add?
There was a reason why we couldn't go to the 3rd floor. There was a reason we couldn't take it to the 3rd floor, but I don't remember what it was.
It's because Jim's organ speakers are directly above it, so you couldn't punch a hole there.
Okay.
So it'd need to be a separate lift.
So you need a separate lift.
Yeah.
I remembered my last one.
Good. And thank you, Jenny, because that was one of mine too that I forgot. The other one of the 3 that I originally had was, we have somebody who's attached to this congregation, married to one of our members, who's involved with homeless people or unhoused people a great deal. And there are things that we could do to join him with what he already does. We could give him a place to house the clothing that he passes out. We could possibly be open once a week to distribute the clothing to people. We could make bagged meals for them and take them out to where they're encamped, because there is an encampment not too far from here. We could support perhaps a meal for them regularly. So we could engage with unhoused people just using the connection we already have.
I like that. Unhoused, underhoused, all the above. Yeah. And that one connects directly to the micro pantry and the stuff you want to do, right? So that's great. I also love the caregiver one. I've brought up caregivers a lot in our sessions, and you know that so often caregivers get into this Messiah martyr mentality, right? And they feel like they just have to jump on the cross and take it all. And you know, eventually that leads to severe burnout, and they give up their careers, they give up their hobbies, they give up their friends, they even their own, you know, their spouse while they're taking care of mom or dad. And you know, it puts them in a really bad place where they can't see any light. And so providing that space for them to step away and know that, okay, I don't have to rush home and get back to mom so I can feed her or bathe her or do this or do that, is a beautiful thing. And the worship for, you know, for the dementia patients, there is a great numinous connection, as Brenda knows, with those sort of people who still remember the rosary or the Hail Marys or all the old prayers or all the old hymns, even though they can't remember who their own child is. So like that a
Yeah,
lot.
and we just had somebody who was caregiving her husband. He passed a little over a week ago, and the funeral was this week. But I watched her for 6 months become anorexic. And when I said something to her, she got angry with me. So I shut up and still kept watching her get weaker and weaker. So yeah, it's in our own congregation, and it has been here for a while, and it's going to continue to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, my great aunt is going through the same thing, becoming severely anorexic while she takes care of my great uncle who has Alzheimer's. So it's a real thing. What else? You've got a magic wand, wave it.
I would like to be able to hire Pat and Larry and pay them for each 20 hours a week so that we could expand their duties. Of course, they would have to be willing to do that, but I would like to be able to pay them 20 hours a week and give them the experience that they'd like, and the church and myself get the help that we need to build. I'm sorry.
I guess that would be ministerial support, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is very, very, very pie in the sky, because I don't know how we can control the government. But
Good, Lee.
we have in the past looked at groups to share the building, but we have narrowed our view to not for profit, so we don't have to pay taxes, which lets out a whole bunch of people that might be interested, like a gay theater group. I'm sure they would not be not for profit. So I don't know how to work with that, but that's a way to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, Lee. And actually, this one is non-for-profit. So usually those that are in that space are nonprofit. But you're right, there are for-profit endeavors that could very well be interested too. It could be a small counseling practice or a bookkeeping, right, where there's one or two people or anything. So yeah.
I think Brenda's got something else. Her brain is exploding over
I
here.
love it. She's on a roll. Let's do it.
Well, you said pie in the sky.
Yeah.
I would like to restart our preschool. And I realize that's very pie in the sky. But right now, you can use government funding to bring kids in, and they're not regulating church content or Christian content. So you could get kids that are underserved because their folks don't have money, and you could populate it and still get money for those children. And I realize that it's not all about money, it's also about ministry. But one of the reasons that this one was closed, I've been told, so it's hearsay now, but I've been told that one of the reasons what we had was closed is because it was draining on the budget.
I can tell you firsthand, and yes, council decided if it couldn't support itself, we would have to close it.
Okay, I have confirmation from a council member that it wasn't hearsay, what I just said. So anyway, I would like to do that, but we'd need to find a teacher who could write, who could get it started.
Yeah.
Because I'm not thinking that anybody here wants to fill out the paperwork, and I know I don't. But if we could find somebody who could fill out the paperwork, so that's why it's pie in the sky.
Well, I don't think it is pie in the sky. So let's look at this a little bit. First of all, we talked about this last session, but a lot of times we get in this mindset that the church is not a business. So we got to give everything away. We got to do this. We got to do that. Again, the church is a business, right? It's a different kind of business, but it has to generate revenue to keep the lights on. And at the end of the day, you need, unless you want to drain your funds, you need a profit, right? In other words, you need to bring in more than you're putting out. Second of all, I like the mindset, although again, it sounds counterintuitive for churches, that you're talking about revenue generation while serving people who need it, right? So these are underserved populations that you're already talking about serving through the micro pantry and whatnot. So it's connected to your ideals and connected to existing dreams. And then beyond that, the trap that most churches get into is that, well, if we have a preschool, the parents are going to come every day to pick up and drop off the kids, and they're going to see how cool we are, and we're going to get members because they're going to stay. It don't happen. Just let me, right? And I don't hear you saying that at all, because I know a church that I've been working with that actually sold their building to the preschool that has been renting space from them for 25 years. And now they pay rent, right? So they're the lessers instead of the owners. So
There's a UCC church in Lombard, Illinois, that has recently created a community engagement specialist as an employee and who goes to the chamber meetings and goes to all the not-for-profit meetings in the community and is out there making connections. And so I would love to see if we could do something like that, have a dedicated person that does that. And then also if we could do anything bilingually. There's a huge Spanish population in Will County. And so if there was any way we could do ESL classes, or if anybody in our community wanted to learn Spanish, do something like that.
Good. And it might even have something to do with the preschool.
I'll
Yeah,
find.
the church in Lombard, I actually did some coaching work with them. So yes, that's a good program and sounds like a good job for, I don't know, maybe an organizer.
Yes.
Just saying. And there's plenty of starving organizers out there. So again, just saying.
I'm married to one.
Hey, you said it, not me. What else? You guys are, I love this. You're on a roll.
I know, but it's just been Jenny and me. I'm shut up now, so.
Yeah, let's hear from some other people. What have you been, you know?
Yeah, had one.
David had one, the music is on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for 20 minutes, it's just been you and me. Barb's got one.
Wait,
Here we go.
I have another one.
Get Mark in the
Like Bob
ping pong
Barker.
match.
We need something for the preteens and teenagers. We have talked about the preschool. We have talked about the elderly with dementia, but we haven't mentioned, the youth that need a safe place to, come and play games after school or, just have fun. Have their own music, have a safe place to go.
Jenny wants to jump on that.
I definitely agree. And doing some kind of trip. When my kids were younger, the confirmation class used to go to either the Emmaus House or St. Louis, but they went somewhere. And so that was probably my kids' biggest disappointment is they didn't get to go anywhere because they saw the bigger kids do it when they were little. And so even if it's twice a year, they go on a mission trip and it could be adults and kids, but just doing something like that would be fabulous.
Okay.
I'm going to duplicate.
Okay, so we've already started talking about this, but we might as well put it down because we need to do a lot of work to get to that place. I would like to be able to meet with the older preteen and adolescent Sunday school attenders. And we've talked about that in Christian Ed and Communication, and they meet at the same time as worship is going on. So I would like to be able to have something else, someone else either preaching or some other kind of program going on so I can spend an hour once a month with those teens. Some of them have some pretty complicated theological questions. And also they don't know me. And so that's one way we can solve two problems. They can get to know me and I can help answer the more complicated theological questions that they have.
Makes use of Pat and Larry. Okay,
There we go.
here comes.
So building upon the 4 or 5 bullet points under the dreams there, if Pat and Larry, let's go on this thread. If we could get Pat and Larry for their 20 hours or whatever, but I'm going to go back to the idea of a Saturday, if not worship, think of all these things we've listed, whether it be providing a a soup and salad meal for the community on a Saturday, an informal worship service at a time where Pat and Larry lead it, so that Pastor Brenda's available for an appointed meeting with one of the youth that she wanted to meet with. I mean, a lot of these bullet points, just a different day of the week. And that's why we're dreaming, right? I hear a lot of people saying, you know, what I'm mourning is not having the next generation at church. Well, if it can't be on a Sunday morning, let's pick a different pocket of the week that is possible to connect, where maybe there isn't something going on, a Saturday late afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock. There, Brandyn, do you know of other churches? Are they using a separate time of the week that is successfully working?
Yeah, so I'm seeing lots of threads connecting here. So let me paint this picture that I'm seeing, and y'all can tell me if I'm crazy. So first of all, you'd want to engage the homeless shelters and the food pantries to say, hey, what in this community, right? What day is the least served? Because there always is one. And once you find that out, you know which day to plug into, right? So for example, no pantries are out here are serving on Thursday nights or Saturday mornings or whatever, right? Then you get to know the people who are at those pantries or homeless shelters or whatever it may be. And then find out the reasons for homelessness. Well, one is because there's no caregivers to take care of the kids, or they can't afford it to go get a job, and so on and so forth. And you're like, oh, this goes back to our preschool idea. And if we can make money from the preschool, that'll help to pay for Pat and Larry so that Brenda can go and talk, right? So all of these things, kaboom, right?
Okay, here's Elaine.
I guess I would dream that somehow we could convince everybody in the congregation that tithing is the way that Jesus Christ wants us to go. Don't know how that's possible, but maybe that's something we could try to do too.
Yeah, sure. You could do the two-edged sword, right? Expand tithing within the congregation and increase revenue streams from outside. So I love this. Give me a couple more. What the heck? Why not? And then we'll break them down and put them back into your appreciative topic and see how they line up. We'll highlight them.
Okay, here comes Sandy.
So, you know, moving with the times, I always was thinking that maybe the youth could maybe have access to computers, like we could have a computer lab and each one of the youths could be on it, and, you know, maybe have lessons for Sunday school through that as well. Just a thought.
Okay.
Or some of the old people can have a computer lab and they can learn how to use it. We'd have the youth come in and teach them. Okay.
Oh, well, that's an actual thing right there.
Yes.
Talk about intergenerational connection, huh?
Yes.
They just have to be really, really patient.
I've told you 10 times the power button is right here.
Young people would feel.
Yes, I know.
And we would have to humble ourselves.
Yes,
To accept the teaching.
yes.
And so look at what the relationship that's built in doing that.
Mhm.
Incredible relationship that you can build doing it.
Yeah. And then that goes back to like the church youth trip. That might be one time a year, it's a youth mission church trip. And once a year, it's an intergenerational family camp or something.
We could also have them teach us how to use our phones.
Computer/phone lab.
We also didn't mention having a group for people grieving. We talked about people that are tending caregivers and the people with dementia, but when they lose their mate, or whoever they're taking care of, they're grieving. And there's a lot of people outside of our church that might come to a grieving group.
Yeah. And I actually, if you decide to do that, have a great resource for that was recently put out called the Grief Lectionary. So there's lots of good stuff out there.
I used to do grief support groups as a hospice chaplain.
Yeah. Me too. Wasn't it fun?
It was challenging because people wouldn't come.
That's it. That's it. They talk about how much they needed it and then they didn't show up. But yeah. One more.
Squeeze one out.
Somebody who's been sitting there thinking, well, I've got this idea, but it's kind of stupid and I don't really want to say it out loud, and just say it.
I'll say it.
Okay, hang on. Hey, wait. No. Larry would get me. Larry would be mad at me for not having you speak on.
We can't put that on the list, but this Pat and Larry would like to erase 10 years.
Okay. That's a nice pipe dream. Yeah.
Erase 10 years. Yeah, there's a lot that can go into that.
Yeah.
When you find out how, let us know.
I think the entire congregation could use that.
Knowing what I know now.
Oh, yes.
All right. This is good stuff. So let's get this bigger. Okay. And same here. All right. So appreciative topic. We want to feed ourselves and others with physical and spiritual nourishment by creating a safe space for peace and belonging. Okay, so feeding, we're talking about food, we're talking about space, we're talking about providing for needs. And let's go back and remember that equation, right? So those three things that make up vocation or calling. There's what are my passions, my being, right, corporate, all of us here in the congregation. What are our skills? And what are the immediate needs around us? Okay. And when I say skills, it doesn't just mean that, okay, well, we have somebody who has started 5 preschools, so we've got that in the bag. No, but if you've got an avenue that it's actually possible, okay, we can put that in the skill category. So keeping that in mind, let's look at these. So getting back to a full music program, choir director, organist, pianist, etc. So that in terms of, okay, we have the skill, we have the passion, there's a need for it. How does this fit? And we're not poo-pooing anything, right? We're not voting here. We're not saying, no, that's a dumb idea. There are no dumb ideas. They're all good ideas. But we want to start to narrow it down to what are the ideas for now? So does this meet the test? That there's a general passion, that there's the skill is there, and that it's needed?
Well, we have choir singers, I think we still do, but we don't have anyone to provide the music to go along with. And we have not had a director. So we have one part.
Okay. How's the
Here comes someone speaking.
There we go.
Besides me.
So making a bold step, dipping a toe in the water. If 6 people would gather around the piano, and if I got to pick the music, so it's not 4 sharps or 4 flats, so I can actually play it, we don't need a director at first for the baby steps. It's people that have that passion that want to sing. And again, I get preference of, here's your 6 choices of what we can sing, because this is what I can play.
But that is.
I think
genuine.
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, my goodness. We'll have, well, there's computer programs that can transpose everything to C for you.
Well,
We have software that will play any.
Mhm.
well, actually, the bell choir is beginning rehearsing next week. So I guess that's something we've got.
See? And is there anybody who can flap their arms in 4/4?
Well, we have a bell choir director.
Oh, okay.
She's even trying to make me do a bell. That's all pretty good.
Well, look at that. So we're gonna put this in the, oops, I don't know what text color I want highlighting. Can I do that? Style. Mhm. Let's see. Okay, we'll do text color then, whatever. So we're gonna put this in dark green that says this is pretty immediately attainable in some form or fashion, right? Don't have to go to Juilliard and start recruiting people.
We have a young man in our congregation, one of our teenagers who, after worship, goes in the back and plays the drum set. We have a drum kit in the back that used to be used when we had our contemporary worship. And so I think inviting him to maybe join the bells, because he likes percussion and he likes music, and that might be something fun to see if he would enjoy it.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Nursery attendant, is that something that, do you already have kids that are needing to be in a nursery? And
We have one child right now, and unfortunately, his mom has had, we feel terrible about having her come to church to worship and yet having to sit in the nursery and take care of her own child. We try the Christian Ed and Communication Committee did try, and we put out feelers for a nursery attendant. We stated how much that they would pay, that we would pay, and I think it was like $12 an hour for 2 hours. And we got no nibbles at all. And, so we're stuck. And unfortunately, the little boy is only 2.5. And so mom is going to be stuck until he's at least 5.
mm-hmm.
We could raise the hourly pay.
Say that again.
We could raise the hourly pay we're offering.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and 2, I don't know legally, but our ad, I believe, said that you had to be 21 or over. And I'm not sure what like the legal, because they would be providing childcare, but because we would have other people in the building, I think somebody that's like 16 to 21 would probably be more likely to take that job than somebody 21 or over.
Right.
So I don't know the legal aspect of that.
Well, the other part that I was thinking is certainly 18, and we have Lewis University just down the road. Maybe a freshman would be interested in making $50 a week on a Sunday morning. That's what I was thinking. If we could advertise at Lewis, we might get somebody who wants to pick up $50 a week on a Sunday morning who would be interested, but they're not going to do it for $24 a week.
Is that the right spelling for Lewis, or was it the other one?
It's the other one,
Okay.
Lewis.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to put this one in the it's possible, but we're not quite sure category.
Yeah, because also if there wasn't actually a nursery attendant, I have another grandchild I could bring.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I've already brought two, so I'm 1/3 of the Sunday school. Okay.
Engage people who are using the micro pantry by providing meals and conversation. We know there's a need, right? That's why people are using it. So now the providing the meal and conversation part, is there a passion? And do you have the people who are willing to, right, do that without having just the same two people every time and getting burned out? We need a cycle of people.
We have an industrial kitchen, so we have a place that we could legally prepare food.
Mhm.
If we can figure out how to light the stove. Elaine's going to teach me. Okay.
There was discussion.
So
Well, I just talking about the kitchen thing, because there was, when they said legally having like food server people, there was like some sidebar conversations. There were 3 of us that went through the training to be certified, so we could do meals in our kitchen. And the allergen portion expired, but the regular part is good for, I believe, another year. And it's me and Barb and Linda. But it's an online training that is easy to do.
yeah.
And I think our license from the county has expired, has to be renewed. Expired during COVID and was never renewed.
Okay.
I think I renewed my allergen, so I don't know why they don't coincide with the, the actual kitchen part of it, but the kitchen part is up, I think, next year, and then the allergen is up in another 2 years, I think.
If I remember it correctly, the kitchen was 5 and the allergen was 3, because they felt that the allergen, like, things changed more frequently. So they needed to update that more frequently.
But it's all doable. The
Yes.
kitchen itself has got all the proper equipment to be certified anytime we decide we want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't,
Go ahead.
we don't need either Jenny or myself or the other woman, Linda, to actually do the cooking. We just need to be present in the kitchen. So we could have, other people come in and help with the cooking or do the cooking. It's just those of us who have gone through the training, one has to be in the kitchen with them.
Yeah. I know what fun and what a headache it is. I had to do it too, to open a cafe years ago. But yes, so it's doable. We know there's a need. I'm hearing the passion. And let's look at all the golden threads here. So we've got engaging people who are using the micro pantry by providing meal and conversation. Once per month meal in the church with volunteers from the congregation. Partnering with organizations to use space in the church. Supporting the homeless, unhoused, and underhoused service programs by storing, delivering clothes, and providing meals. And then conversations with local pantries and homeless shelters to determine what days are people not being served, right? So you've hit 5 points with one thread. State-of-the-art streaming booth and platform. Is there a general passion to, if most effectively, reach the folks out there in virtual land? And are there funds available? People who are willing to be trained and run it?
we might have to apply for one of those grants that a whole bunch of UCC churches got during the pandemic
Mhm.
for the same purpose.
Yeah,
So that could be the stream of funding if we could get the grant.
is that a LEAP grant?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah, that's up to 15K right there, so.
Oh. Mike just reminded me that Neighbors in Need might help with the food as well. And something that I mentioned to someone else while we were out to lunch, as far as the food is concerned, we could get a grant from Walmart for $1,000 to help with the food pantry, or maybe to help buy the meat to distribute once a month. So.
Okay, so Walmart is in for funding. Love it. So just to let you know what I'm doing here with these colors, the green ones are doable, have passion behind them, etc., and they're just their own freestanding things, right? The blue ones that I've got here are all connected. You do one and you've done all five. The yellow one is like, good idea, not sure if it's viable right at this moment, but perhaps in the future.
One? Yeah, the yellow one.
A color, because yeah, yellow doesn't show up. I can't see it at all.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
He's trying to use,
I don't want to use red because that connotes that it's not happening, but I'll use gray. How's that? Is that better?
Oh, there's something there now.
Yes,
Okay.
nursery.
Okay. It's like doing that, the thing with your rods and cones and looking at
Yeah.
the number and right. Do you see the number? All right. A circle center open to the community and congregants with volunteers. So we know that this connects with using the space for the community. Is there an internal drive for this, passion for this?
I'm not sure there's an internal drive, but it is a way that you could do grief support as well. So you could do grief support using circles.
Yes.
I'm the internal pusher of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Microphone.
She said, could you do caregiver support with that? And Brenda said, yes.
Yes, definitely. I think it would be a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put these in a perhaps category together of the same hue. Just let me find one. Let's see. I don't want to use light gray. Let's use that's really light. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's super light. Can you see that?
No.
I didn't think so.
Hey, could you maybe use like bold and not bold and like put an italic font or something?
Oh
So
yeah, we could use different fonts and stuff.
They
sure.
could all be black so we could read them, but then just like do a different font or make it bold. That might
Well,
be easier for us to see it.
yeah, so for these other ones, I'll do that because we're
I
gonna
have
run
to remember how old we are, Brandon.
we're just gonna not run out of italices and fonts, and so here, let's do this.
Also, of course, you're displaying it as you edit it, so it's not as big on our screen as it might be if it was just a slide.
Yes, and when it's PDF'd, it'll look different too. But so all right, so I'll make these bold. Good idea. So these are differentiated from these, although it's the same hue. And then that also connects to, I thought there was another one in here. Oh, the grief group. Here we go. So that's dark green. Love it. Okay, good. So we covered that page. All right, how about the elevator going up to make the building fully accessible? Is there enough need to get up to those 5 rooms? Are there funds available right now? Is there an overall passion to say, yes, we need to get people up there and start using those rooms?
I think part of that, one feeds the other. If we had a lot of people renting the building, you'd have a need for an elevator. But if you don't have people renting the building, then where's the need for the elevator? But that also might be something that you could possibly write for grants for with the American Disabilities Act and people like that to get an elevator, maybe.
I like that. I want to put that one in a bold yellow because it's, if the other things happen, yes, there's fully right reasoning to do that. And you may even somehow for the preschool, right, get some sort of a grant to make the building fully accessible. So that's a good maybe, a strong maybe. We'll even call it a likely. How about this? Hiring Pat and Larry as paid ministerial support staff. Brenda's like, yes, we can do it tomorrow. Let's do it.
Maybe we should ask Pat.
Yeah, so what do Pat and Larry think?
Oh, that doesn't matter. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Guess what happened while you were gone, Larry?
Right? He's like, we're doing what?
I don't think we have the money for that necessarily. Again, it's possible through grants or if we could get the preschool up and running, we possibly could fund that as well.
Yep.
And if Larry and Pat didn't want to do that, we could maybe find somebody else who is interested in doing it. Maybe somebody who's interested in being bivocational.
I like that. So these are all tied together. So we're going to do yellow in italics instead of bold. Good. Community engagement coordinator.
Same problem.
Same thing, right? It's yep, it's in the same boat. Agreed. Okay.
Honey's got.
Hang on, I'm coming, Jenny.
I know we just said it's the same problem. We don't have the money, but a lot of these things on our dream list all revolve around either writing a grant or connecting with the community. And so who's going to, and I know we're not getting into the nitty gritty, but who's going to do all those things? So yeah. I think that's probably one of the more important things on the list. Because right now Mission is doing more community engagement than Mission. So.
Okay, so let's put identify grant writer and coordinator in all of this. And look, this may be a college student who's been doing an internship at a nonprofit and writing grants that you can say, hey, we'll pay you on a per grant basis, or could be somebody's nephew or grandson or whomever who says, yeah, I can do that for you. Right. So it doesn't have to come from existing people unless one of you or one of the wider congregation members is.
So Mike, how long have you been writing grants? 25 years of grant writing, but he's not going to do it for free. So he may do it on a percentage basis of the grant.
Yep.
I think too, we have a lot of talent within our congregation. We have a lot of retired professionals, people with degrees, people with advanced degrees. So we may even be able to have an intern from USF or Lewis that we could give them experience and we could supervise an intern. I used to supervise interns at LifeLink. If you have the credentials, but we would just need the commitment from people here to actually do it, to make it worthwhile.
So Jenny, did I just hear you volunteer yourself to supervise the grant writer if they materialize? Forgive me if I'm misspelling your name.
She needs to get her last child driving first.
Oh Lord, yeah. That's funny. This one, the bilingual services I am going to put, I think it went in this category with the preschool, was a bold there. So those are all connected. Safe place for youth for recreation in community. Do you have enough youth in the church that would use this space and have had the conversations with youth-oriented organizations to say, yes, this is needed? And if not, it can be a TBD.
What's the side?
Sidebar.
What do you mean?
There's table having a conversation. So we're
Yeah.
wondering if there's-
Oh, okay. We thought that you were coming up with a.
Talking about those ideas.
Oh, we're just talking about us being old. Oh, well. One of the things that Jenny and I and Julie Turlip are doing is we're volunteering with a youth organization for, it's called Youth Outlook. It's for LGBTQ youth and we're at the Lockport Joliet site. And it would be, if we can offer up our space.
Okay, so this is one that's, you already have the connections and it's already going. So I'm going to put that in plain green. So that will go along with the art streaming booth platform, choir. It's like, it's already there. You just have to tweak it and fill in a couple blanks. How about the church youth trip? Do you have youth? First of all, that's always the question we have to ask churches. Do you have any youth?
My youth are all too little.
Okay.
We have 3 that are in confirmation right now. And I have 3 others in the class that are 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. The others are 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. So we do have some youth. But it's a wide age span.
So I would put this, and tell me if this is fair. I'm going to put this in gray to go along with the nursery attendant. Right? It's like when you have the full need and the means and whatnot, it can happen. Expanding tithing, again, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, people, if you say, we love our church, give 10% of your income, that'll fall on deaf ears usually. But if you say, here are the dreams that we have for our church, here's what we want to do, here's what's going to happen if we do them, people get excited and they open up their pocketbooks, right? So I think if you communicate these visions to the congregation, once we've got them put in place and have some solid dreams, I think people will, whether it's a capital giving, a giving campaign or whatever it might be, or if you can get people to, constantly give 10%, that's great too. But I do think that you will get funds if you have a vision. So I'm going to put this in green.
You can also get funds from the community if the community will buy into the vision.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So let's just say tithing / giving in general. And then here we are, the computer and phone lab for the old and the young, the intergenerational connection and helping folks be able to use technology.
I don't think we need computers. We just need people to bring their laptops in.
Okay.
And I'm thinking the youth don't need computers here because they probably have a computer at home. But it's convincing the youth that we need them to teach us.
So what about this? Tell me.
My mother from Ohio.
Yes, well, so here's the thing that most churches are experiencing, and you tell me if this relates to you or not. So many shut-ins, so many homebound folks who don't have the technological skills to join us online because they don't know how to do that stuff. So if you could send out a youth, right, and show them how on their iPhone to be able to watch church, or on their tablet, or on their whatever. And if they don't have one, then you can talk with the family. Hey, mom would really like to be able to join in with church. You mind pitching in and getting her a tablet of some sort? Or mom can maybe buy it for herself, but right. So that might be a good way to make it happen without having to build a computer lab or whatever.
Along that line, having hotspots that the church owns that could go out, because I know one member in particular, they don't even have Wi-Fi. So even if someone showed them how to access on their phone, they wouldn't get a connection because they don't have Wi-Fi. So having hotspots that people could use, that they could take home. So, and then if someone would come and show them how to use the hotspot so they could watch church.
Okay.
Everything she just said is Greek to me.
The case in point then, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got the computer phone lab thing. And in fact, I'm going to say we've kind of gone in a different direction with that, right? Still intergenerational connection, but instead of having the lab here, could be providing, I'm going to say by, not or. But either providing the hotspots for those without Wi-Fi or right? It's the same category. If they're out there hooking up the hotspot and showing them how to use it, then they can also help them connect to that and show them how to watch the live streaming. Do you all use Facebook Live, or what are you using for your live streaming? YouTube. Okay. So again, we can show them how to download the YouTube app, which usually comes preloaded on your iPhone, and show them how to find the church.
Brandon, I don't think it's just teaching them and the fact that they don't have Wi-Fi. You have to be able to afford to buy all this stuff too. I mean, phones aren't cheap.
Yeah.
Computers aren't cheap. Hooking up to the internet is not inexpensive either. I think that's the problem with a couple that don't have it.
Yeah, I agree. It's all contingent upon them having those things. And that's why I say, one avenue is, yes, the church can try to find a fund or something that would provide that, or having those conversations with their families, right, to be able to provide it, or.
I think with the hotspots, if we could have a program like the library, because with the hotspots, we would pay for them, the person that has it. And then like, if you go to one of the local libraries, you can check out a hotspot and then you take it with you. And the library is the one that owns it and the library pays for it. So yes, you would need a device, whether it's a phone or a tablet. I don't know if that's something, it was a dream, if that's something, I mean, my goodness, we talked about accessibility to the third floor. We could talk about buying 5 tablets and 5 hotspots.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be Apple tablets.
No, they can be basic, whatever, right? Anything that gets online. The other thing you could do is
on a Kindle Fire.
Get YouTube on a Kindle Fire.
Yep, definitely.
And they're a lot cheaper than.
Yeah, I just got one of those for my daughter for $79 refurbished.
A lot cheaper than iPads.
Yeah.
Well, if their TV is a smart TV, now again, that's assuming Wi-Fi, right? So there's
Right.
a lot of contingencies here.
Right.
Another thing you could do that wouldn't cost any money is have a group of people that would volunteer to rotate to go out with these folks and sit with them for an hour during church and use their own tablets or cell phones or whatever. And then you'd be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? You'd have that connection part, the human connection, and then you'd also have the connectivity between those people in the entire congregation through worship.
That's a great idea, Brandon. We need more people though.
But always, right? Or
So we have 5 people who aren't coming to church anymore personally because they're at somebody's home. But you're right, having somebody at somebody's home right there with them and the connectivity is priceless.
yeah. And we may find that the people who aren't coming in the building who are doing church on home, maybe some of them will volunteer, right, to go out. So, oh, Joan lives 3 doors down. Yeah, I can go over to her house and, once a month or whatever. So just, you never know.
Yeah.
So I think this is one that's very attainable by one means or another. So we'll put that one in the green. Okay. So let's go back quickly over what we've got. I'm aware of the time, and then I'm going to give you instructions for.
Just a second, Pat has something to add.
Yeah.
Just 2 things, Brandon. Did I miss the Saturday scheduling or scheduling things at another time in the week? Did we place that somewhere? I might have missed that.
No, I missed that one. I do remember you saying it though.
And then just while I have the mic, since we've got folks committed till noon, can we just take a little, get in touch with time? Like how much more time would you want today? Is that okay if we extend? Can we just figure time, since some may have things that they need to get to after 12 o'clock?
Yeah, we can. Or I mean, really, this will be done within 8 minutes. I think we'll be done by 12:10.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? Just keep plowing forward here. Okay. So again, the Saturday program scheduling, that's something that is doable, right? It's immediately available. So we've got these things that are connected. They have contingencies, but they're very doable, right? We can get 6 people around the piano singing songs. The bell choir is already happening. Invite youth into it. This is an immediate good. State-of-the-art streaming booth and platform. If we can get a LEAP grant, that's possible. There are other grants. So this could certainly happen. The Circle Center, open to the congregants and volunteers, again, is something that can happen immediately, and it directly connects to caregiver support with the aged and dementia. I'm going to go put that in not bold. Okay, good. Yeah, because this relates to these up here. And then the grief group also fits into that category, right? Along with the Saturday program scheduling, the choir, the full music program, we've got a safe place for youth for recreation in community. That, I mean, the space is already there. So if there's a need, sure. Giving and tithing will expand along with just communicating the vision. And then the intergenerational connection by any of these means possible. Okay, so let me go back to those are covered. Go back to the bold yellows. Have an elevator to go all the way up to make the building accessible. And that would go along, hey, if you have a preschool and you have people in the building, then yeah, there's a need and probably a means to make that happen. These italicized ones are kind of like, well, when we have the funds or when we have the full need, they'll connect with each other, right? So if you have the funds through a grant, you can restart the preschool. You can hire a community or engagement coordinator. You can hire Pat and Larry or somebody for ministerial support. If you find a grant writer and can work out a payment agreement with them, then you can probably have all of these things, right? Because you'll have the funds. The ministerial support to allow Brenda to engage the youth, again, that relates to these things. Supporting homeless, unhoused, underhoused service programs by storing and delivering clothes. That's all connected with conversation with the local pantries and homeless shelters. find out what days are people not being served right now, food wise, right? And you already have the space to store the clothes and to communicate with them to say, hey, you know what, folks tend to have more mobility on Friday mornings because of XYZ, something that we don't understand about the transportation system or availability, or because such and such nonprofit provides transportation on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So many things that we can learn and then put together to make these things happen. So having said all that, let me ask, well, let me say one thing and then ask one thing. So the next step is to look at all these. As soon as we're done, I'm gonna turn it into a PDF and send it out to Brenda to spread between all of you. After that, I would like you all to engage these things and choose 5 things. Now, if they're, again, some of these are very closely connected, so you can put them together. If you think that they would fit together, you know, for example, hiring a grant writer and using that money to hire ministerial support, go ahead, put them together. That's fine. But 5 things overall that we are going to come back to next time, and then we're going to have a vote. In other words, these things will be, the 5 ideas will be put out on poster board or laid out on a table, right? You have all these tables, and then what would happen is we'd put the ideas down there after people had said, I support this idea and here's why. Okay, write them down, and then people will go and sit at the tables with that written on the card. So now, to make it less convoluted, I want to ask you all, would you be able to, or committed to, or whatnot, to get into groups before our next session and look at these and decide in groups, or would you rather just do it individually? And I'll say one last thing before you answer. If you choose the group route, I can provide the resources with the right questions to help you to decide, and, you know, like an icebreaker and things like that. But if it's, you know, we're already busy enough, don't have time to put another meeting or gathering in our schedule, okay, we'll do it individually. So I'm going to shut up and you tell me.
Is individually like what we've been doing right now?
Yes, except you'll bring your own thoughts to our next session. In fact, probably I would have you email them to Brenda, and then she'll pass them on to me so that I'll have them before the next session so that I can say, okay, here are our top 5. We're gonna let those be, you know, let the folks who support those 5 things are going to say, here's why I support it, here's what I think we can do, et cetera, and then we can have a vote on them.
Hang on.
And I want to add to what you just said, if it's okay, because when you mentioned supervising interns and you joked and said, did Jenny offer to do that? I just want to say too, that when you're thinking of your things, think about what you want to be involved in, because I'd be happy to supervise interns. But if I'm supervising interns, I'm leaving TPERC, I'm leaving mission, I'm leaving worship planning, because I'm already on those 3 things. So I appreciate the confidence y'all had in me when they said supervise interns and he said Jenny and everybody laughed. But think about like what you want to do and not what somebody else in the church wants to do, and where you're going to be plugged in.
Thank you. If you recall, I'm glad you mentioned that again. If you recall, in our first appreciative inquiry session, I said everybody gets skin in the game, right? No matter whether, again, remember my example, if your nephew is a contractor and you pick up the phone and say, hey, would you be able to help us get permits for XYZ? Fine, right? So everybody gets skin in the game. So if you have an idea, don't just throw out an idea that you wish somebody would do for you. Think about, how can you plug in? And maybe pick up the phone and say, so that when you present it, right? So you can say, hey, I called Henry and talked to him, and he said if we did this, he would be interested in championing this. So we've got a way, right? So be involved. Thanks, Jenny, for sharing that. So let me know, and then and then I can get you out of here. So what are your thoughts? You want to do this individually, or do you have time for you who are gathered here to split up into groups of 4 or 5?
I personally think groups because there's more accountability.
Okay. I do prefer groups for that reason, as well as I think, sharing ideas, they kind of get more flesh on them, right? Rather than our own ideas that we might need somebody to poke holes in or play devil's advocate, or to say, yes, and we could do this. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, right? So those beautiful things happen when you're in the group. So is that let me quit sharing screen so I can actually see you large enough. There we go. All right, so let's have a show of hands for those who want to do this in groups. Go. Groups it is. Okay, that was easy. Thank you. All right, so I am going to work with Brenda to actually, let's do, what do we got? 1, 2, you want to count off by 4s? We can just do that right now real quick. Because I got to my far left, I've got Brenda, and I think Lee is to the left of Brenda. So Lee, you're 1, Brenda, you're 2, and then go ahead and keep counting.
3, 4,
5. Oh, I'm supposed to start over again. All right. 1.
No, you be a 2 now.
I beat you.
2. 3.
I can't.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Are you?
You're
a 4.
You're a 4. Are you able to stay?
Are we doing it today?
No, it's not happening today.
No.
Not happening today.
Okay.
So you're a 4. Okay.
Okay.
You want to be in the group? I guess the confusion is, do you want to be in the group? Because Barb passed and didn't want to be in the group. So the next number would be 4. If you want to be in the group, you're a 4. Okay. I'm not so certain that I want to be.
Okay. Okay. 4. You're
4?
no, you're a 1.
You're 1.
1.
2, 3, 4.
1, 2. What else did I miss? 3. Make Larry a 3.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So you all remember your numbers, please, because I have no idea. Write it down on your hand or under your eyelids or something. And then you can gather via Zoom. You can gather in person, do whatever feels comfortable for you. You can gather at the church. You can do it at somebody's house, right? Whatever works. So between now and our next session, I would like you all to get into groups, and I'm going to send you the agenda so you don't have to remember anything. So I'll send that to Brenda. She can send it out to all of you. And then you are going to come back to me with your top 5 ideas. And again, you can combine some, right? If there's some that fit together and are contingent upon one another, feel free to do that. So again, I'm sending instructions. Any questions now so I can get you folks on the road?
1 and a 1 and a.
So one thing that I would like you to do is to split up in your groups for just a few seconds and figure out who's going to facilitate your group.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not going to facilitate all of them.
No, you'll have one facilitator, well, a recorder, facilitator, scribe, whatever you want to call it, all of the above. So.
One facilitator, and the facilitator then is going to be responsible for calling the meeting to order.
Yay.
Where you're going to meet, all of that.
Okay, so if you all want to get into your groups in the 4 corners of the room there.
I would just say, Pat, what number are you? Okay, so all the 2s go by Pat. Neil, what number are you? All the 1s go by Neil. Who over here? What are you? Sandy's a 4, so all the 4s go to Sandy, and Elaine's a 3. Okay, our next session is October 8th. So everybody knows October 8th? Everybody knows?
October 8th, and you all show up there. I'm going to be virtual because I'll be in Utah.
Okay, okay. And so we need to have all this done before the 8th.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, so you don't need me for this. So I'm gonna have Brenda pray us out, and then you do your coordinating, and then God be with you.
Thank you, Brandon. I just wanted to get those details done before we leave. Okay, let's pray, and then Brandon can leave and we can pick facilitators in our group.
Okay, we're gonna pray.
Brenda's meeting.
We're gonna pray. Okay.
Okay, let's pray. Thank you, God, for what has been accomplished during this meeting. We ask you to help us to prepare for the next meeting. And we pray for safety for all of us as we return to worship tomorrow. And thank you for all that you're doing in us and with us and through us. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
And all right, thank you, Brenda, and thank you, everybody, for your great work today.
Would you return control back to us, Brandon,
Yeah,
on Zoom?
I think you do that, but let me see.
I only know it's dangerous. Let me see.
Let me see.
Is that under share screen? Host disabled, participant sharing screen.
I think if I get off, you'll be host anyway.
Because I want to, well,
push end meeting, and then either way, it'll send it back to you.
Brenda, do you know how to change host back?
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Brenda?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was a co-host with you, not the primary host, because I don't see anything to send it back to you.
So, okay, so let's see what it says.
I think if I just sign off, it'll do it.
Well, it might. Oh, there we go. Reclaim host.
There we go. Perfect.
Now we're done. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all. Great work. And thank you for your grace and my apparent absent-mindedness today. I'm glad we still made it happen and got it done.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Now it'll save the recording automatically, correct?
So what's a date?